So we have a video that we want to play for you. Action.
I've never been so connected spiritually as I am now.
You're going to get really, really good and strong.
Since I started to do the Pamela workouts, I found Jesus, and I'm Jewish.
God speaks through Pamela.
Hey, you should pay the $200 a month.
You should pay the $200 a month.
$200, that's not too much.
Start crying and say, Pamela saved me. I was nothing before her. Now I have a life worth living.
I now have a life worth living.
Hello, ladies.
Okay.
What you up to?
Cut. You're done. Okay. Just out. Carrie.
I'm sorry, Miss Pumpkin.
No, it's fine. You just...
Okay.
It's not your show.
I love her so much.
Give her your money.
Give her your money.
Hi, y'all. I'm Pamela Pupkin, and you're about to do Pamela Pupkin's Workout for the Lord. Woo! Hey, y'all. This is Ellen, and these are the other people. Right arm up, left arm up, right arm up, left arm up. Now right, left, up to Jesus. Right, left, up to Jesus. Right, left, up to Jesus. Up to Jesus, up to Jesus. Circle, circle to the Lord. Circle, circle to the Lord. Circle, circle to the Lord and to the Lord and to the Lord. Now Christ cross, up to Jesus. Christ cross, up to Jesus. Punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil, now punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil, kick the Satan, punch the devil! Y'all, I hope you enjoyed this workout as much as I did, and for just $200 a month, you can watch this DVD as many times as you want, and know that all of this money will be donated to the church.
Awkward. That's awesome. That's very good. So, we put all over Facebook, it's a major announcement, little side information. It's those guys. They're speaking tomorrow. I'm just kidding. No, it's not. We have a great announcement tomorrow, so come and be a part of service if this is your home church, to come on up. Hey, Eric, can you grab another guy? Can you come and help bring the chairs up? Okay, so Heather, were you able to get that picture? Okay, so our sweet granddaughter, Josie, has had an ear infection, and so she's not been able to be with us, but I want you all to see her. We can't have a ladies' conference without seeing her. She's got an ear infection, and so she's getting better, but isn't she adorable? Yeah. Miss Professional Taryn took that picture. My mom's like, who's the professional that took that? I said, Taryn Photography. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. This is Eric. This is our handsome son. That's his daughter, Joel. Yep. So he's helping. So, hey, the raffles we have so far, we have $2,837. Amen. Plus, there was a $500 donation that somebody just donated towards it and didn't buy tickets. So we've got over our budget, which is very cool. Our goal was $3,000, so we're very excited for that. Miss Sandy, if you want to come on up. Pastor Sandy. And then also our tentative schedule date for next year is starting September 17th, so 17th, 18th, like we did the same schedule. We added Friday and Saturday and kind of like, let's just try and see how it goes. And I'm just so pleased that yesterday and today, in the daytime, it was great attendance. And so we'll continue doing that, and just to add that, so it's really nice to be able to have, May? What did I say? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, May 17th, 18th, and 19th. So, are you good?
Yes.
You got a microphone and everything? So we got...
Hey, girls. How are you guys doing?
Yeah. Hasn't it been great with Sandy?
Oh, yeah, it's been so fun, you guys.
We've so enjoyed it.
Fun.
It's been, I hate to have you go. Why don't you just move up here?
I know. I was telling Bill this morning, I just said, I really feel at home here. It's been the easiest time I've ever spoken anywhere. You guys have been so generous, so cute, the way everybody's dressing, I just want to say. And I've noticed that. Like, everybody's really, cutely dressed. But anyway.
They're kind of awkward, but you know that.
I like it. It's a good look. Everybody will start using
no,
that.
do not.
But it has just been a pleasure, and I think so much of it is because of what they have done here as pastors and just their staff and you guys. Y'all have been so receptive. I was telling Bill this morning, which is my husband, has everybody been here during the conference? Is anybody new?
Today your first day? Anybody first day? Oh, a couple
welcome.
People. Very
Okay.
good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. So it's just been, there's some place, I love people. And so I love going to different churches, but I'm telling you, this church has just been over the top for me. I mean, I just love it. It's like it hasn't even been, it's been effortless, and it's been like from the worship to everything. I just feel like the anointing instantly has been there, and sometimes you have to, get up and you're, just like you're like, well, okay, I'm nervous, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and it has not. I mean, I have not been nervous 1 second. It's been very like my home. I don't know how to explain it, but I just love you guys. I mean, seriously, I'm not just saying that.
It's been very good. We've enjoyed having you and just sharing with us and hanging out with us and just giving us all your I knew that when I saw her at Shelby's, I don't even, maybe that was in September, I don't know. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my gosh, we need to have you come and speak at our conference, just because it was so practical and just so good, and just, I love the word. I love how, just what you represent and stuff. And so, yeah, it's great. So we'll probably talk about some of those things. So what we did is we got questions that came in, and I just decided that we just go through and we pull out those questions and ask them. And there's one in here that I'm really hoping we don't get that one up. So there is, all the guys are going to close their ears, but we're just going to pray that is not. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, well, let her answer that. I'll go in the back. No.
You're answering some of these too, right?
I can answer. Okay. Yes, I can help you do that.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, it says, how can I find godly friends when I move to a new place?
You get involved in a local church. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is, and I'm personally experiencing this with my daughter. My daughter, Brooklyn, is 28 years old. She got married 2 years ago in July, and her husband is the coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the coaches for the Philadelphia Eagles. And she moved up to Philly. Out of all three of my children, I would have said there's no way she would have ever left Tulsa.
Oh, wow.
God definitely had a different plan, and so she's up there, and then they just had a baby. And so what's interesting is she is a health instructor at Lifetime. So she immediately, she was working out Lifetime in Tulsa and immediately went to the Lifetime in Philly. And they hired her, and so she teaches classes there, and basically she's not even doing it for the money. She's doing it, well, number one, she gets free, access to Lifetime, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And she gets paid, but the greatest thing is that she meets people in her class. And so she feels like it's almost a form of ministry in that way. She works them out. Sure. She's a crazy workout person, and she has met, so I went up there for the baby shower. They had a baby shower for her, and there was a grouping of Lifetime instructors that came, and people that have come to her class, and she'd only been there probably, I think she got pregnant. I think it was a year after she got married. And then she has a church there, and an amazing church. I mean, she found that's the number one thing. I say you never move unless you have a church that you're going to, a local church. Mm-hmm. I think that's the very first thing they did. He was already working with the Eagles, so he was already there and was already attending this church, and he's from Oklahoma and had been going to Guts before Brooklyn ever even came back from college. So it was kind of cool the way they all met. But anyway, so they go to this church, can't think of the Connect Church, in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is like 15 minutes from Philadelphia. And it's in the community that they live in. And she has instantly gotten involved in that. It's kind of neat because she was always a pastor's kid, saw things from the beginning, is very involved in our church. She's still on staff at our church, does our online experience with our church through Philly. So she watches every service and then evaluates and goes over it with the media team and stuff. So it keeps her very connected in Tulsa, but she's loved that, and then she then there was a grouping of people from the church, and then there was a grouping of people from the coaches' wives. And I mean, the head coach's wife came, all the coaches' wives came. I was blown away because
that's awesome.
They don't have to go to that, they don't have to do stuff like that. And so she said that like I was talking to her this morning, and I just said, she was telling me that she's getting together with a bunch of church girls that have all had babies, and they're in a supper club, and they have a supper club that they go to each other's home. There's 6 couples, and they go to each home once a month, and so you only host it twice a year, We do this in our church too. And, you know, you pick who your 6 couples are because it does matter how you gel and all that kind of stuff. And they have a blast with it. And then what they do is during the week, they'll meet at, you know, the park, and the kids will play. Hers is only 12 weeks old, so it doesn't get up his car seat or anything. But everybody else's does. And so, like, it's just a community. But I would say the number one is you have to... You find somebody. You have to find a great local church, which this is a great one, and then you have to just get involved with the people there. And she's done it through the Nursing Mothers Room. She's done, you know, just through things that she would never have probably done when she was in Tulsa. She's gone to a couple things that she would say, I would have never gone to that, but she's glad she did, and it connected her with certain people. And so she's, that's what I would say, the local church. Amen. That's a long answer, but I'm going through it right now with my daughter. So it's, but she just said, you know, something she did say is that, you know, transition's always hard because it's like pulling up roots. And when you've lived somewhere for a long time and you're used to something for a long time, and then it's like you're actually pulling up roots and moving, and it takes a while for that plant to be replanted and to be, you know, and then sometimes it dies a little bit, and then it comes back out and it's like comes to flourish. And so there's times that she's been, you know, lonely. There's times that she's been, you know, what do I do? Should I go with this group? There were several people that she went to coffee with from the church that she came back and said, well, I'll never do that again. You know, I mean, it was just miserable or whatever the situation was. So you kind of have to find your niche, you know, and so
that's good.
That's my
and I think, coming into church and not just coming, because it's people can come to church and leave and never connect with anybody, but it's get involved in doing children's church or nursery or usher or greeting, because those are all smaller groups and teams that will help you connect with other people. And I was thinking about with Sarah being in the nursing mom or the parents or nursing mom's room now, that she's in there and there's a whole group of girls that have smaller kids that she's developed relationships with, that now that's their reason, you know, their connection that they're able to. And I never even thought about even in that area, because it's, you know, we've heard too that there's parents that have children that are smaller, and it's like it's such a hassle for them to come to church, and they end up in the parents' lounge or nursing mom's room anyway, because the kids, they're fussy and they can't be in service or they won't go to class. And so then they're like, well, what's the use? I'll just stay home and just watch it online because it makes it so easy. But they're missing the part of coming and hanging out. And so now by people, moms pressing through that and coming, now they have a group that they're connecting with and friends that are connecting, or, you know, then their kids go into nursery and then they're working in nursery. And so those groups are also important. I remember, is Karen, where are you? Are you in here? Where is she here? She just went out. She's right there. Sorry. Karen, when her husband now, when he first came to church, it was so funny. He moved from, where was he at, Karen? New Jersey? Where did he live on the East Coast? Pittsburgh, that's right. And he came over here like first day at church. We had home groups. I went to this home group and he's there, and I'm like, hi, Io. And so he was just like Mr. Chatty Charlie, and he's talking to everybody, and nobody is a stranger. By the time you're done, you're his best friends. He's hugging you as you're leaving, you know. And so, but he got involved in groups. Now he's an elder at the church. They do a home group. And so there's just so many things because of him jumping in, knowing he's a people addict. He wants to have those relationships. So not everybody's like that, but you got to go somewhere and do something to get involved with people and meet people. And so it's very important.
And something I was going to say on that is just, you know, if you take the attitude that when you come to church, wherever you go to church, if you come with the attitude of, I'm not really here for me. I mean, where you pray on the way there, like, you know, God, show me who needs a friend, show me who needs to be connected with people, show me the needs of the people. And when you get to church, it's amazing how God will start showing you different people. And it's funny because it's never the one that's sitting by themselves that you would think, oh, I need to go sit with her because she's just sitting by herself. It's a lot of times the ones that you think are very connected, that may be very connected, maybe even on staff here, but may be very lonely because they have no one to talk to, because they can't go talk to someone that's, you know, one of their friends because they work at the church or, you know, whatever. And so I'm just a big proponent on church isn't so much about me. It's about
very good.
I'm going to serve others.
Yeah.
And that was part of my message last night that I never got to. but if you start looking at it like that, it is amazing how fulfilled you will be in your life.
That's so
because
true.
that's what we're here for. And it's all about connection. And I know that it's trendy to stay at home, and like I'll even have friends to say, "Hey, I love the service today. I watched at home. Didn't get out of my pajamas, had a cup of coffee." I'm not downing that at all. I'm just saying the other side of that is there's the scripture that says, "Do not forsake the assembling of the brethren." Why is that? It's because we need connection. We need each other. So it's not so much that you're here filling a seat and being a number. It's that you're here serving other people. You're here finding out who's hurting in this body or people that are around you.
Right.
And it could be the very person that you connect with. There's a pastor's wife that came here from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never met her before. And I'm telling you, she and I were talking last night, and I said, I think I came to this conference maybe just for you. I know we're supposed to be in each other's lives, and it's like she said the same thing, and it's amazing because I think that's going to really blossom into something. And I'm 56 years old, so it's like you think, oh well, you're 56 years old, you don't need friends. Everybody needs friends. Everybody needs connections, and if you're lonely and you don't know how to connect or how to get involved in the local, just get involved somewhere. Greeting takes nothing. Greeting says, "Hey, thanks for coming," and then you don't miss out on anything.
Right.
You don't have to work with the babies, and I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that, And so it's a great way because you see everybody that comes in and out of that door, and you can kind of evaluate. Oh, she's cute. I'd like to be her friend. She scares me. I'm not going near her. I mean, it's true. It's life. It's not just at church. That's in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
get involved.
Yeah. And I think that one thing I look at too with the children's church, it's like it's children. I know it's children's church, and people can come and bring their kids. But hello, you can come and drop off your kids and have adult conversation for a couple of hours, a day on Sunday. So okay, proudest mom moments. I know you have a few kids, so this might be difficult. But is there one that stands out more to you?
Well, I'd love to be really spiritual and say it's when they got saved. And I'm not going to say that, though, even though that's very amazing.
Yeah.
That's incorrect English. It was amazing. I think one of my proudest moments is I'm a very much of a completion person. I like I kind of take one thing at a time and see it to completion. And I think the biggest thing with my kids is when they got married. Our son and our daughter. And it was just one of those things that they're standing up there. My husband did the ceremony, so I'm watching my husband. It's surreal watching your husband marry your son, and then your daughter and her husband, and then I think because it's like God's given us these kids, and we, do everything. Your whole life is about bringing them, making them fully able to function and fully able to serve and fulfill the call that's on their life. And, they got saved when they were younger because they grew up in the church, and they just, we never pushed ministry on them or anything like that. It's been very organically done. My kids to this day, two live in Tulsa, one's married. They always begged to go to the church, and that always baffled me. And I don't know if it's because I did not grow up in the church. I did not have ministry background. My dad was an attorney, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and we grew up Episcopalian. So, it's just random. Not random is God, but it's amazing how I'm in the ministry because we never really planned that. And so I think it's been one of those things that's just like life, And so I would say that's been the most important. I would say that's the biggest moment is seeing that kind of well done, thy good and faithful servant. It's like, okay, tag, you're it to the spouse, And it's just awesome. It's like, and now they've had kids and seeing, our grandkids and just seeing life and how God has been faithful every step of the way to from start to finish. And we're not finished by any means. We still have one that's not married yet, and she's 21, and I'm glad she's not married yet. And so it's just I think that's just a big moment. It's just a big moment for a parent.
Yeah. I know there's so many. Glenn, I know he would say baseball probably is some of the biggest moments, which those are all, hitting home runs. He did so great in sports. I mean, him surprising us with engagement to Sarah. There's just so many things like that. But I love seeing him snuggling with Josie and just loving on her. And so that just makes my heart so happy. And so I mean, there's so many things. I don't know if I can say this one's better, because they're all great, or just seeing him up here on stage, or, playing his guitar and raising his hands, or, doing transition and talking about the word, or doing messages and talking about the word, or him spending hours on the phone with Glenn talking the word. I mean, I think those are such precious times that, those have evolved in the last, year and a half, couple of years. I mean, he's always talked about the word and stuff, but just the passion that he has now for it is just, those are just such fun things to see him growing into, so there's so many, especially if you have multiple kids, that it makes it a little bit more, well, this is the best. And it's like, well, no, but this was really good, It's like when Joel was growing up, every season was good. And I can't say that there was ever my favorite one, because they just all built upon each other. And
yes. I agree.
Yeah.
Teenage years were my favorite.
Well,
for
they
sure. were my favorite.
Oh,
absolutely.
But just so they weren't, because they'll say, yeah, I agree with that. But
oh, absolutely. They were my favorite.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Those are some challenging years. But my mom always says that teenage years are God's way of the child weaning themselves from the parent, so it's pretty good. Okay. So what book or books do you recommend, or what is your favorite one you're reading right now?
Oh gosh, I love books. I love
Besides
books.
the Bible, obviously the Bible.
Love them. Okay, this is probably going to be too spiritual either, but I would recommend getting the book Be My Guest by the Disney Institute.
Oh.
Awesome, hands down. It tells you how to...
That is a staff.
Yeah, it tells you how, and the other one that kind of goes with that I love too is the gold standard. It's the Ritz-Carlton standard of how they started the hotels and how they just help hospitality-wise for their guests. I love events. I love hospitality, and so much of it, I won't go into all of it, but like so much of it is from Disney. I'll just give you a little window into the Disney Institute, is that they have their staff, they have their cast, they call their staff their cast.
Oh, wow.
They all say the same thing, they're all on the same page, they all have certain things that are non-negotiables. They pop popcorn when you walk in and go down Main Street of every single, like Epcot or Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom or whatever. They pop popcorn at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they said it's not because anyone buys it, because no one buys it, but they want that smell of popcorn because it makes you think entertainment, fun, that kind of thing. They have people that go around when they build certain things. They have people go up and down Main Street, and like they'll decide how they're going to do like maybe a general store or something, and then they'll put a lot of their casts with knee pads, and they'll make them walk down or go down on their knees down Main Street as the viewpoint of a kid.
Oh, wow.
And so they make all the windows, everything that the adults see at their eye level, they make it at the kids' eye level. And it's just genius, the things that they think about and do, and their standard. And same with Ritz-Carlton. It's every Ritz-Carlton in the country has the same smell. So like they spray a smell in every Ritz-Carlton because they want you to remember that when you come back to Ritz-Carlton, that smell is a familiar smell.
Wow.
And which is interesting. And it's everything from they never tell a guest no. They always say, if you come up and say something like, hey, I didn't get this happen or whatever, what can I do about it? They give every staff member like $2,000 to spend on anybody that is unsatisfied, indiscretionally, like they can spend that. But then if they come up and say, hey, I want a week in Maui at, I don't even know if there's a Ritz-Carlton there, but anyway, in Maui, where the person knows there's no way they're going to give them a week in Maui free. They just say, you know what, we would love to do that, but let me tell you, we'd love to do that, but we can't do that for every guest. So they do say no. They just don't come out and say, are you kidding? No, you're not getting a week in Maui. They make you think that they are meeting your need, but they say it in such a way that it's what would you say, like palatable for everyone, and it makes you think, oh, okay, I get that. You know what I mean? Like if someone came up to me and said, hey, do you have $1 million? Can Guts Church send me $1 million? I would say, you know what? I would love to send you the $1 million. But you know what? I'm just going to have to go back and see if we have that. Well, that's really not in our policy. But there's a way to say everything in life to where it's not offensive, but you get the point across and you're not a pushover. And so those two books are great as far as the top 5%.
Very good.
See, we look at everything in our church. We do everything. We meet, we plan, we do the best we can, and then we have a quality control team that goes and does the top 5%. So what they do is they'll walk in, and we'll have secret shoppers that go through our church, and we'll say, go into the kids department, go check a kid into the kids department, or go to the kids department and tell me how far you got back to the nursery. Because security, they're not supposed to let them to go back all the way to the nursery. So I'm like, can you get all the way back to the nursery? And then I'll just have people just go tell me what the bathrooms are like, and then they'll give me a full report. And then I'll bring it up to my team or whatever. And we do it like quickly and professionally. It's like quickly, you do that, and then you just take care of it. And it's no big deal. And then, so those kind of books can really help you, just even in life, if you're going to entertain people in your home, how to do that. Then I love this Andy Stanley's Enemies of the Heart. That is a great book. Enemies of the Heart. It's all about what's behind what's coming out of your heart, like jealousy and that kind of stuff. That's a great book. My favorite book of all times, besides the Bible, is Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. Because I think everything happens in your mind. Everything comes from your mind, your soul, your mind, will, your emotions. If you can get a handle on that, you can get a handle on most things in your life. And so I love Battlefield of the Mind. Anything by Joyce Meyer, I love. Anything by Chris Kane, I love. Anything, Lisa Bevere, different people. But I do love Enemies of the Heart by Andy Stanley. And there's a book, and I don't know who the author is, that I read years ago. It's called In the Company of Women. And it was just huge in my life. It was by a Christian psychologist. And she wrote a book about women's relationship with other women. How your relationship is with your mom when you're younger, and then how your relationships in your life change when you're teenagers. And then when you that you just want all friends. You just want a million friends. And then you get to college, and you still have a bunch of friends, but it gets narrower. And then once you get out of college, it's a real transition going into the workforce and how your friends change, because some are getting married, some aren't getting married. Then it takes you through, once you get married, and does your spouse and you connect? It's all about your spouse and you connecting with another couple. And so it's really interesting. And then it takes you through the relationship that you have with your mom from birth to the end. And it's just a cool book. It's called In the Company of Women. And then my newest book that I just read is called Uninvited by Lisa Torkish or whatever. I don't know her. But anyway, really good book. Uninvited. And it talks about what we deal with when we're not invited to things, when we feel left out. Oh, wow. What the background is of that, why you're experiencing that, and how you can get through it and get over it. And it's a great book.
That's awesome.
So those are four just that are off the top of my head. And then I read fiction books. Like I went to the beach and I got a fiction, John Grisham. There's no teaching, nothing, and it was fabulous. I loved it. And I just sat on the beach and read it, and it was like going to see a movie. It's like couldn't wait to get to the next chapter. Those kind of books where you're like excited about going home. And I don't know if any of you guys read like that, but I do. And I just loved it. And it was like, that was like therapy for me. So
those are fun to me. Those are just kind of like brain dead books. You just get lost in them. I think I listened to it, Ms. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, because I saw it advertised, and it's like it was based on a book, and so I rented it and listened to it and loved it. It was just fun, like fantasy type thing. And then I went to the movie and it was dumb. And so, but I hate that when they do that, because a friend of mine were like, let's see how they ruin this one at the theater. Well, they totally ruined it. But it's it's fun to do those kind of books that are just totally, especially on vacation. I love doing those kind of things because I'm always reading books to help me education with Bible school or with women's groups and stuff. And so I like to do those when it's a vacation time. One of my favorite books is Cross the Chatterbox by Stephen Furtick. Favorite book. I can't recommend it enough. It's a great book. And so it just talks about how you have to silence that voice, kind of like Joyce's book, Battlefield of the Mind, and how that's always in there. The other one that we just did is Slaying Your Giants. Such a good book, and it's like topical, so it's like you could read how to, if you're having issues with unforgiveness or depression or distractions and different things. That was a great one. And then a little one that we have, I think, in the books where we just got it is C. Newsom, Life of Faith. It's like she wrote it like in the 1920s, and it talks about faith. Amazing book for today. It's one of Dad Hagen's favorite books that he always carried around with him and stuff. And so it's just, get those favorite books. And, reading's not always the easiest to do, but I think what happens is you get lost in those books, and then you can't wait to get home to read those books or to listen to, Audible. I love the fact that we can do Audibles. You can listen to those in the car. You can do Audibles from the library. How many of you check out books from the library like Audibles? Yeah, that is something, seriously, especially if it's not a teaching book that you want to use, maybe read it and then go buy the book. But you can, if you go get a new library card, you can go onto the website and log on and check out books. You get them for like 3 weeks. I've listened and read lots of books from the library that are just super fun, especially like the Miss Peregrine's. I read that one from the library. And so just doing things like that you don't want to necessarily buy, but I want to listen to it. And those are free. They're all free. So those are great ones to do.
I also think it's important that if you don't have an understanding of maybe like say the tithe that we talked about last night. I know that Glenn has an amazing book out there on the tithe. If you don't understand about fasting, and I know the video was joking about it, but like Jensen Franklin has a great book on fasting. And you guys, I read that maybe 5 years ago, and I'm telling you, I was blown away how much I did not understand fasting. I mean, I did not get it. Yeah. And I think so much of the time, like if you don't understand like prayer, your prayer language, or why would I need to give? What does God need with my tithe or whatever? It's important that you find a reputable author like Pastor Glenn and different people like Jensen Franklin and then you study up on it, and you just see, it's not bad that you ever question. It's not, it is not a sin for you to have thoughts. It's a sin what comes out and happens after you have that thought. So it's like you want to get your thought life right. You want to, study up on it. Find out why it is. Don't take things hook, line, and sinker. I didn't. Mm-hmm. When I went to ORU and found out about different things about the Word, I didn't just take things just because they said it. I mean, I always say, don't just come to church and hear Bill and just take it hook, line, and sinker. You go to the Word and you find out what he's saying is true.
Right.
I mean, that's our responsibility as Christians, is to go find out that it's that you rightly divide the word.
Right.
That you rightly divide it.
Right. And especially if you're having a hard time with the subject, or you just want more information on the subject, to get a book to learn. That's, on marriage or finances or parenting or whatever. Just get information. Don't just have that question, because I think I can have that question in my head and just let it go because I'm busy with stuff, instead of saying, I need to seriously study this. Online, there's so many podcasts now. You can Google, marriage podcast, and oh my gosh, there'll be so many crazy ones that come up. And just like good ones, but there's crazy amount of them. And so it's amazing the technology that we have today that can be used for bad, but there's so much there that's good that we can use. Okay, next question is, what if you don't agree with your husband on serious parenting issues or how he chooses to deal with the children and discipline? Loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
It's not that one, and I think it's the big one, and so I keep putting that one back.
It's not the one?
No.
Okay. We want to know what the big one is, don't we? Because I know it's about sex.
Yes, it is.
It has to be. Okay. I'm huge on agreement, on the husband and wife coming in agreement. The word says, if two or more are gathered in my name and agree, that it shall be done.
Yes.
And I think you have to get an agreement. So like, say if it's a parenting issue or a finance issue or whatever the issue is, Bill and I are complete polar opposites. I'm black and white, he's gray. It doesn't mean that I'm right and he's wrong and I'm right. Don't ever tell him that, because I'm right like 99.9% of the time. But I just think, I think that we do a thing when people are about to get married. We do. There was a training course. I can't think of the name of it. I went through it with everybody. But anyway, and they count. We don't even marry people unless they go through this class. And basically, you take a 200 question. You divide up into rooms. You're the guy you're going to marry, and you don't talk to each other. Even though we had one couple that was texting during the questions one time. It's just ridiculous. It's like, are you serious?
Give me your phone.
Like, this is for your benefit.
Yeah.
We don't care. So anyway, you answer those 200 questions. Well, we send it off, and I think it's like $25. We send it off. They evaluate it, and they come back with it, and it's a graph, and it's basically. It's one of those kind of personality tests that you can't like make yourself have a personality because it comes out in other questions and it tells you where you are where you believe the same or don't. It's a graph. It's not like a pass fail, but it's kind of like what areas you need to work on. And it's about sex. It's about parenting, money, marriage. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, and so it's really good. And then we have our elders meet with the couples separately, and they talk about those issues, like saying, okay, you guys were exactly the same, believing this spiritually, but on this end, you might have a little problem in the finance area because one of you wants to spend everything and one of you wants to save everything. So they talk about it and they talk through it. So anyway, it's a really good tool. But as far as that's concerned, I never, and I think we just talked about this in the pastor's wives meeting yesterday that we had. I am a very strong personality, very, very strong. And everybody in my family is. Bill's strong, I'm strong, my kids are strong. And so in our family, this is just the way our family works, everything's on the table. Nothing's hidden. We say what we want to say, definitely respectful, definitely honoring, but we definitely do not hold back. And so that's just the way it works for us, and we love it, and I love it. And so if we ever have a situation that Bill and I don't agree on or we have different opinions on, parenting's a big one because that's a big thing to disagree on. But it's like what we'll do is we'll talk about it, and if we're making a decision and say we usually come together on it. We never make a major decision without us coming in agreement on something. I don't care if it's where we're going on vacation. We just don't make a decision unless we talk and come in agreement on it. Because
all of our vacations would be around hunting, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. See, and she's strong enough to say I'm not doing it. See, me too. And so the thing is that then if something comes up that we can't absolutely like maybe it's just a kind of a gray area, if that makes any sense. I defer to him because he's the head of the house. So that puts a lot of pressure on him, but that's what the word says. So he's the head of the house. We're definitely we definitely co-parent, co-lead our church and that kind of stuff. But issues at the church, it ultimately falls on Bill. I do not believe in two heads. I believe in one head. And I believe, I know there's churches that say they love it, that they have the two pastors, two men pastoring the church together. I don't know. It
generally doesn't work.
I just think you got to have one head. And so, Bill is the head. And I'm not a woman hear me roar thing. I don't need that. Like, I definitely, he absolutely probably puts too much into what I think, takes into account too much what I think sometimes, because sometimes I can get, not emotional, but I'm a reactor. So my instinct is to react to something. And so he has to wade through that a little bit. and then I know that sometimes I have to say, hey, we're just doing it. We're going to do it. We're going to trust God. We're going to do it, Right. And then I'm just telling you, we eventually get on board. But as far as parenting, that's huge. I would definitely go get some material on parenting. And I'm trying to think. I don't know if y'all ever have Joe McGee in. He's
heard of him.
awesome on family and parenting. I'd go get some material. I'd talk about it, and I would come in agreement. And I don't know who wrote the question or what it is about. It kind of depends on what you're talking about as far as parenting. But we just had some hard, fast rules in our family that, you didn't miss church because of sports. I know it's different now, but sports were never offered on Sundays and Wednesdays when our kids grew up. They were all involved in multiple sports at a time at a 6A school. I mean, my kids had 1,500 kids that graduated in the class with them. Senior class.
Wow.
And they were all involved in cheer, basketball, volleyball, track, football. And we just said, this is the deal. It's family first. We're going to church. And they all did club too. So they all did all that traveling and all that kind of stuff. And we just made it work. Now, I don't know how you guys do it. I'll just be honest with you. I don't know how you do it. I mean, it's like there's practices all the time. We're dealing with staff members because all of our staff members have kids. And you just have to decide what works, And I think a lot of times one thing doesn't work for everybody. You have to figure out what works for your family, what your non-negotiables are in your family. And that's something that Bill and I did a long time ago. And we never, this is the biggest thing I can say, and I know this probably wouldn't even ask, but we always come in agreement, and then even if I'm thinking, I don't know if this is the right decision, the kids would never know that. Mm-hmm. We always come in as a unified front. I think one thing we got advice when we first got married that the kids like to come in, it's just their human nature. They want to come in and conquer and divide. So they'll go to the parent that's passive, because they know they're going to let them do something, and then they never go to the parent that they know that's going to make them follow the rules. Whatever. And listen, it's both ways. It's either the man or the woman. And we never let our kids conquer and divide. Like, hey, Mom, Dad's not letting me do this. It's like, that kind of thing. Our kids could say whatever they wanted, but then when the rubber met the road, always had to be respectful, honoring, but they always did what we told them to do, what we expected of them. Now, of course, did they do other things, sneak out and that kind of stuff? I'm sure they did. I mean, I'm just talking about just, life. And I think so much of the time, the tempo of your family is that if our kids know that everything's good with Bill and I, even if all hell is breaking loose, if we come in and we are a unified front and we're like, listen, you guys, we're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. I don't know why that coach is sitting you out, but you know what? You're going to honor him. You're going to work your butt off.
Yeah, that's good.
And you are going to do everything he tells you to do. Everything. And you're not going to have an attitude, and it's not going to be the coach's fault. You do what they tell you to do. I'm telling you, God honored it every time. And there's a stability that goes within your home when the husband and wife come in agreement and are just that force. It's kind of like, okay, Mom and Dad's okay. Okay, we're okay.
Yeah.
And that's the way we pastor our church. It's very much like a family. We have had some crazy stuff happen in our church, and had to keep our mouths shut about things. And I'm telling you, it's like as our church, all they're doing is looking to see what Glen and Theresa are doing. Like, do they have us covered? And that's what your kids are doing. They're watching you to see how you're going to respond to life and what happens in life. And as long as you guys are a team, and as long as you guys are like, you know what, we're getting through this and we will be on top, and you just watch God work. Yep. I'm telling you, it brings such a peace
Amen.
To the kids, and they don't even know they're going through it.
Amen.
And then it's over.
Yeah.
Then like in a month it's over, and the coach is, and then sometimes the coach never moves from it.
Yeah.
And you just say, you know what, I don't know what happened, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Because maybe, maybe
I think with that too is that it's not talking about it necessarily if you don't agree.
Yeah.
Not talking about it in front of the kids.
Yeah.
Get away where the kids can't hear you and talk about it. It's okay. I don't agree with what you did here. Why did you do that? What are you thinking? Or what about doing this? And come together and then, basically come up with a plan for that child that you're having serious issues with so that you are united so that they can't conquer you. And it's like, well, they always do this or whatever. And so you just have to be really careful. Just to agree with that. Okay. So I had to go through and find one that wasn't I don't want to leave on a bad note with Sandy and what she's saying, because this is going to be the last question because she's got to go to the airport and then we're going to do the drawings. This one I pulled out is, what is the most embarrassing moment, or what is your funniest moment? I thought that would be a good thing to leave on. And then she'll have to come back and answer the rest of them.
Okay, let's see. Most embarrassing moment, like in church? I'd say one of
life, whatever.
I'd say, and this isn't even that big a deal. Y'all are going to go, oh, that's nothing. But one of my most embarrassing moments was, it was my birthday, and I'm not a big surprise person. I don't like people just surprise me. I love surprising people, but I'm not as great at receiving the surprise. And my whole family was there, and I'd lost, I had this dog for 15 years, and the dog had died. And I told them, I said, this dog is like having a baby. I'm everybody's about to move out, go to college. I don't want another baby. I don't want another dog. I want another dog, but I don't want that kind of a dog. And that has to be taken out every 4 hours. Well, anyway, so I'm at church. Everybody's there. Cameras are on and everything, and I'm up, and they called me up or something for my birthday. And so I'm standing there, and they said, well, we have something for you. And my kids came walking down with this dog. And it was it's a Maltese poodle mix, 5 pounds, 5 ounces. We just weighed her. And she was tiny, so cute and everything, but so I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're bringing a dog down. I thought they were kidding. And and they're walking down the long aisle, and I'm thinking, what is that? What are they holding? And they came down, and y'all, I didn't even know how to mask. It was one of those moments that I didn't even know how to mask my face. I walked over to Bill and I'm just like, did you get a dog? Underneath my breath, and he's like, yeah, we're surprising you with the dog, and everyone's watching and they can see that I'm not loving it. And I'm a dog lover. And I couldn't even fake it. It was one of those things I couldn't even fake, And I was just like, oh, and I didn't want to hold it. I didn't want to touch it. It was just so, I can't, looking back on it now, my kids say it was one of the worst days of their life. It was seriously one of the worst. I said, well, if that's one of the worst days of your life, you've got a pretty good life.
Good, no kidding.
But anyway.
And how long have you had her?
Oh, well, I've had her 5 years.
Oh,
absolutely best dog I've ever had. She is a joy. Her name's Hottie Toddy, because I went to Ole Miss. And Hottie Toddy, and she is the most social dog. I miss her so bad I can't tell you. My husband's been sending me pictures. She's ended up being the best, but it was the most embarrassing moment because everyone knew it was not a good thing. And so they for a long time, and then the cameras were on, and I'm sure they edited it or whatever, but it was just, we went home after that, and the kids were my 2 daughters were crying. It was that bad. And because I was just when it was over, I'm just this is so bad telling myself. And I'm like, what were you guys thinking? You can't let Dad do that. He has bought me stuff. Y'all, he's bought me a car before that I've taken back. Almost everything he's ever bought me.
And what was he thinking with a dog?
I know. You know how they say, oh my gosh, you never take back something your husband gives you or whatever. I don't think I've ever kept anything my husband's given me. I'm serious. Except this dog.
Oh,
and so I'm I kind of break all the marriage and family rules, but it was just one of those moments that it was embarrassing for me because it was in the public, and then it really hurt my daughter's feelings, and they got over it though. But anyway, and I'm telling you, that dog absolutely is one of the biggest joys in my life.
That's
to this
awesome.
day. And so they tease me and say, Mom, you're such a reactor. You need to, but it was just so off the cuff. So that was an embarrassing moment for me. And I know that's not even that big a deal. I'd love to say I fell off the stage or I did something.
I did that.
But did you?
We had a guest speaker. That's why they're always so careful or helping me off the stage. So we had a guest speaker, and I come down the stairs, and I fell on my hands